It's been a couple years, but I still feel a little bit disappointed by the world that came with For Rent. And don't get me wrong, it has nothing to do with the style or the theming. I love the concept of Tomarang so much. It's just really small compared to all of the expansion pack worlds we've been getting recently. There's only 9 lots in 2 neighborhoods and 3 of them are empty. So when you look at the map, it just looks unfinished to me. And when you compare that to Nordhaven from the most recent expansion pack, there's 12 lots. 4 of them are empty, which I'm still not thrilled about, but there's just so much more space in this world. And I just really wish they had done more with Tomarang. It just feels like such a missed opportunity to me, especially since all of the lots and like the environment in this world is so beautiful. I mean, look at the area around this lot. Just as an example, this is incredible. It's honestly, I think, one of the most aesthetically beautiful worlds in the entire game. But anyway, I don't want to complain too much about it because I am here to build in it today. I really want to try and build something on this lot, and I'm thinking that maybe we could try and make some sort of duplex residential rental, like 2 houses that are attached to each other, and I want them to be entirely pink. For Rent also has some really nice build stuff. Like the windows and the doors are just so beautiful. So we're gonna use this as our inspo and build here today. Also, don't take my word for it, but I think that this might be the last speed build that I post before I get access to Enchanted by Nature. I usually post speed builds like once a week, and the pack comes out on July 10th. So I think we should have access pretty soon, and hopefully before next Sunday. So that's exciting. So let's just get into it, and I'll kind of walk you through what I've built here, starting with the fact that it's only on a 20 by 20 lot, and I am trying to fit 2 houses here. So it's definitely gonna be a bit of a tight squeeze, but I think it's worth it. We don't really have a lot of outdoor space for either of these houses. There isn't too much yard space or anything, but I think that's reasonable. A lot of people in real life live with no yard space. It's just nice in The Sims when you can fit that kind of thing in to be able to have it, and this just wasn't the time. We couldn't really make it work. I even considered moving it to a bigger lot just so I could have a little bit more room, but I like this lot so much because of the dock, so I wanted to stay here, and we're just gonna deal with the lack of backyard. This house on the left does have a little bit of a courtyard in the front, and then the house on the right kind of has a side yard space, so they do have a little bit of outdoor space and like a little bit of private patio area. It's just not a ton. Now, as far as the color scheme goes, there's 2 different pinkish, reddish colors from For Rent. There's that like bubblegum pink that we have on the left, and then on the right, there's this more rosy color. I don't know if I would describe that rosy color as really being like pink when you look at it, but I think in the context of this house, once we have everything else together, it does read a little bit pink. I didn't want to use the same swatch on both houses. I kind of wanted them to be a little bit different, but still fit the same color story. So just trust the process. I promise it'll come together in the end. I know you're staring at it right now being like, that's not pink, Kayla, but just believe me, okay? It will feel pink once it's done. So the shape of each of the 2 houses is pretty much the same. I kind of have like 2 duplicates on each side, but they're a little bit different on the interior, and they have like different windows and different front sections. Sisters but not twins is kind of the vibe that I was going for. I used the For Rent roof texture on both, but in a couple of different colors. I tried to get a pink one on the left side, like a more bubblegum pink one, but it just looked a little bit weird. So I went for gray instead and then used a pink roof trim. And then the right has a more like reddish pink roof texture, but then like a white and light pink roof trim. So it kind of all comes back together. Ooh, and one other small thing, I actually built this in real life like over a month ago. I built this in May during my charity fundraiser, so it's been a little bit since I built it. That means if you're looking for it on the gallery, you might have to scroll back a little bit more than you expect because I post a lot of things on the gallery. And also I like skimmed through the speed build before I started recording the voiceover, but also I built this over a month ago, so I might have forgotten a couple things that I did in the house. And who's to say if present Simsie agrees with the decisions that past Simsie made? Because sometimes I watch my builds back and I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't have chosen that color couch, you know? So we'll see what happens with this one. I do live stream most of my speed builds first. So like, for example, this one I built on Twitch first, and now I'm posting it on YouTube sped up a little bit later. Well, a bit later. I don't mean to like keep them secret for over a month. I just build so much in this game that I don't have enough time to post them all at once, you know? But I'll link my Twitch channel down below in case you want to follow it. Now is actually probably a good time to follow it, because if we're getting early access to the new pack soon, I'll be able to stream the new pack soon. I don't know exactly what day that's going to be able to start, but probably really soon because the pack comes out on July 10th and we can usually do it like a few days to a week before. So probably a good time to follow me on Twitch now and like turn on notifications so you don't miss it. I'll also post videos here on YouTube, obviously, but there's something fun about watching it live as well because I can answer more questions that way. It's just longer and there's more like real-time interaction on stream. But do you see what I mean now with the pink on the outside? Like how the right side didn't read that pink at first, but like now with more stuff, it's kind of starting to feel that way. I put the pink flower boxes, we'll get some pink landscaping, and all of a sudden it kind of starts to feel more pink. Just trust me, it's gonna feel very pink in the end. I used this wallpaper and these columns that they almost have like a purpley tone. It's kind of like a mauve-y color. I don't know if I've ever used this wallpaper on the outside before. It's just like the base game paint wallpaper, but it comes in that color that kind of matches the color of the windows. So I used it on the outside, and then we have that bubblegum pinky color on the outside of the other house. There's not a lot of texture to them. It's just kind of like a painted stucco, I guess. I also added a little bump out on the left side of the bubblegum pink house, and I put like a balcony up there. I used some awnings from For Rent because they have that kind of cute light pink and white stripe awning. And it also makes the house a little bit bigger because the houses themselves are not very big. So adding like a little bit of extra space on the right side gives us some much needed bonus area. It'll help with the floor plan to have a little bit more room to split up because I want to have at least 2 bedrooms inside each of the houses. I also made a last minute call to stagger them a little bit more because I thought it would look a little bit better from the front if they were a little bit further apart. That way the left side's courtyard is just a little bit bigger because the right one has that whole side yard. You can see it a bit better now, but they've got a ton of extra area over there. So it ends up being okay. I've been talking a lot and being worried about not having enough outside space, but they really have plenty. Like, it's totally fine. I also added a couple bits of tile. The tile that I have right there right now is just a base game, like terracotta colored tile. It's a little bit pinky toned, so it kind of works. And then in the back, I also use a little bit of For Rent tile. For Rent has these stone floors that have a little bit of grass in between. And so I put those in the back. It kind of just looks like big pavers, I guess. I sort of forget about those tiles often because they're hard to use in a lot of places because the grass color is stuck on them. So if you were to use those tiles in like, I don't know, Oasis Springs with orange floor because the dirt is all orange, the grass is just very stark and like doesn't always look quite right. It looks really good here because it blends in basically. But anyway, I'm doing landscaping now, which I was most excited about. We use a lot of very tropical landscaping on this house, mostly stuff from like the For Rent debug and like the Island Living stuff. The Island Living landscaping is what is the For Rent debug stuff. It's all the same, like trees and bushes and everything, but I use those out here. Lots of like greenery to fill in the place, and then a few pink bushes and flowers and stuff like that. I used a few of the Island Living pink trees. I put the movie Hangout pink tree in the way back because it has these like pretty pink lanterns. I don't know if that style of tree really matches the environment too much, but I think the fact that it is pink is just too cute to pass up. So I put it in the back. I think it also helps with the balance of the lot a little bit more too, because the pink tree on the right is a more similar color to the pink house on the left. So it kind of just like spreads the light pink out throughout the place. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying stuff now, but hopefully that makes sense. Like, I think that it helped make it more cohesive, I guess. There are a couple really nice trees from this debug landscaping that I really like, but I sometimes find hard to use just because they're quite big. But I tried to use all of the pink stuff from Island Living out here. There's like 4 different little mini pink trees that I sized down a bunch so that they would fit. And I basically just put that everywhere. So talk about not having enough outdoor space on the lot. I filled it all in with flowers. Like literally everywhere is full of flowers. The last one I just added is actually from Romantic Garden Stuff. I struggle to use that one quite a bit too because it looks a little bit alien-y to me sometimes depending on the swatch, but it's got a pink swatch that kind of worked. So I sized it up and put it around, and now we are finally moving inside. So we're starting with the house on the left first, so like bubblegum pink house. And this one is gonna have 2 bedrooms upstairs and also an art studio downstairs. I wanna use like an easel and some of the pottery stuff and fill in the room downstairs with that. Downstairs also has a little bathroom and then kind of like one big open room for the rest of the living space. And then on the right side, I had a way harder time with the floor plan of the house on the right. I think it's just laid out a little bit weirder, so it was a bit more difficult for me to fit in, but we do have an extra bedroom downstairs on this house. So this one is more like a family home, I guess, because it's gonna have 3 bedrooms total. There's 1 downstairs and then 2 more upstairs. We also get a bathroom downstairs in this house, but overall there's not really too many bathrooms in this space. The one on the right has 2 bathrooms, the one on the left only has 1. It's just so tight down here. I mean, you can kind of see, but that makes sense. They're small houses and I kind of wanted them to feel super tight on the inside. I think that makes it cozy. cozy. In a second, I'm gonna change all the flooring to make it a little bit easier to see which house is which, because I know when you're first looking at it, they can look kind of samey, so it can be kind of confusing when you're like looking at the top-down view of both right next to each other. But once the colors are different, I think it's easier to tell where we are. Oh, there is an extra bathroom on the left side. Okay, so there's 2 bathrooms in each of them. Never mind. I told a lie. See, I'm learning stuff myself watching this back, and I was the one who built it. They're actually a little bit bigger than I thought they were. In my mind, they were really, really, really little, but they're not that bad. Okay, but starting with the kitchen on the left house, I really wanted to use pink stuff in the kitchen. I tried the stuff from the cottage country kitchen kit, whatever it's called. I tried that first, but I felt like the style of the cabinets was really rustic, obviously, and it didn't really match. Like, it wasn't really working for me. So I decided to use the for rent counters instead. We've got like a growing together tile along the back, and I'm trying out the growing together stove and fridge because I like how they're sort of a pink color. It's just a bit weird that they have the silver accents on them when all the counters have a gold accent, but I think it can be made to work. You just gotta kind of trust the process and get some more decor in, and then it sort of starts to come together. I also put the little light pink stuff from the garage kit because they're like a pastel pink for a microwave and a coffee table, coffee maker. God, I can't even talk anymore. We're like 10 minutes into the speed build, by the way. We're not even halfway done with the voiceover. I'm already falling apart. But I used the restored version of the Restoration Workshop appliances to put in there, at least the countertop appliances. And then we have this little tiny dining table kind of by the front door. This whole house has a very pastel pink sort of vibe to it. So I was really trying to incorporate that on the inside as well. And I'm warning you, it's like only pink. This is very much solid color challenge vibes. I wasn't trying to have accent colors. Like when I built this on Twitch, a lot of people in the chat were like, hey, have you considered maybe adding in like one more color just so it's not so samey? And I was like, no. No, I have not. But when I built this, I was doing what I called Spirit Week on my Twitch stream for my fundraiser. So every day I had a different theme. Like I did one that was sim bounding, so I dressed as Eliza Pancakes. I had Weenie Wednesday and I played Rags to Riches with Stanley Humphrey. And then we had like a pink day where I wore all pink. I built this all pink house. So it was like very thematically appropriate for the stream. It's been a month now, so I'm a little bit more, I'm not like over it, obviously, but I'm handling it a little bit better. But when I did this build, my grandma had just passed away like 2 days before. So for months, I was planning this like big spirit week for my Twitch stream for the fundraiser. And then my grandma died and I had to like be live still and like, you know, be so excited and happy and oh, we're playing Sims and we're streaming. I was going through it. I did not feel very spirited at the time. And I know I didn't have to stream. Like I didn't have to go live and do that at the time. I did feel inside that I had to though, because obviously I had planned this massive event and like I wanted to follow through with it. I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So I felt like a lot of pressure about it, I guess. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I stayed live every day and like I finished the event. We raised $1 million. Like it was well worth it. And my grandma would have loved that I did that, you know? So it was a good thing. It doesn't mean that it wasn't hard though. And this day in particular, this was an easier one of Spirit Week. I'm pretty sure that the first day I streamed after my grandma died, I was dressed as Eliza Pancakes. I had like a wig and like the glasses. I literally cried like all day and then put my wig on and then went live. Like what? That's just a very bizarre situation to find yourself in. But also like maybe that's good. Like maybe the sheer ridiculousness of it made it easier to handle. I don't know. There's no world where it's easy to handle. Like nobody's job is easy when they're dealing with grief. Like it's never gonna be a good thing. There's no right way for it to happen. It just is what it is and you get through it. But why am I talking about my dead grandma in my YouTube video again? Okay, back to the build for a second. So we're doing the living room right now. And I'm trying to get like a cute little shelf with some clutter to put on top. Those are actually the shelves from my kit and I like all placed them together and then put them across on top of the couch. I also went back and forth a lot on the bar stools. I changed them like 4 times. I think that was probably the hardest part for me with the whole build was figuring out what color bar stools made the most sense in here. I think The Sims 4 is very lacking in pastel pink. Like, there just really isn't that much that is pastel pink in this game. Honestly, just pastel in general. We don't have a ton of pastels, so that just makes it hard sometimes. It's weird because things will be going really well and you'll have like the perfect pastels for the dining room, and then you find like one item category where there just is nothing that is pastel, like the bar stools. There's one, but it was just a little bit too modern, so I didn't love it. But now that I'm looking back on it, I like the bar stool choice. I think it was a good one. We also had a very modern looking TV, so I don't know why I'm complaining about it. Like, it turned out fine. The rug in here is actually from Strangerville. I got a lot of questions about that too. Strangerville, shockingly, has a really good rug selection. It's interesting because the rug itself doesn't look that nice. It's one of those where the default swatch will throw you off, but it's got a couple cute ones like this pastel pink, and it also has some kind of retro looking rugs, like kind of like a 70s vibe on a couple of the swatches, and I really like that about it. But this last room downstairs on this side of the house is going to be the art studio. So in here I used all the pottery stuff for businesses and hobbies. We've got an easel from the artist studio kit. I also put like a woodworking table and things like that. So you can basically do all of the crafty artsy hobbies in here. Oh, except I don't think I have anything for knitting or cross stitch, but all of the rest of the crafty hobbies you can do in here. I've got the other one set up. I did use nifty knitting, but I don't think I put yarn anywhere. We have like nifty knitting shelves. We've got the nifty knitting little craft cart and that sort of stuff, but nothing else. And that is pretty much the downstairs of this house done. We're gonna go back upstairs now and we're gonna start working on the bedroom. So there's just two on this side and also a really tiny hallway. Not a ton of stuff going on in the hallway, just like some clutter and a dresser. This dresser is from For Rent, but it kind of looks like a side table. I think it's one of the smallest dressers that we have in the game, so I used it around here a lot. I just like how it looks a lot. You probably don't need to have a dresser everywhere in the house, but in real life, that kind of storage would be nice because it's like closed storage all over the place. So in this bedroom, I used the businesses and hobbies bed. I also used just the new base game pink carpet in here. And then I found a little tiny businesses and hobbies desk, and I also used a paranormal stuffed chair. They all kind of have the right wood color, and I was glad to get a desk in this space. I feel like it's nice to have a desk in every Sims house because everybody needs a computer all the time. So I made sure I had one of those. I used the For Rent rug, which is so good. For Rent has some really solid build items. I think especially that rug in the kitchen set are like two of my favorite ones in the game. It just has some really nice swatches. All of them are really nice. This last room upstairs is gonna be the kids' bedroom, and this is like the actual last room in this side of the house. And I tried to use the For Rent curtains in here, and I found that they had this kind of cute pink and green color that matched the pink and green split wallpaper pretty well. So I used those in here. And then this bed is from Seasons. It's kind of a pretty canopy bed from Seasons. I don't use that very often either. So I kind of had fun trying to pair them together. I will admit that I very rarely use the curtains from For Rent. They're not one that I like really am drawn to that often. I think because they're quite patterned and I sometimes have a hard time matching them to things. I am a little bit intimidated by pattern in this game. I think that happens a lot with any pack that has a lot of patterns on the stuff. Think like the Decor to the Max kit. There's a lot of stuff from there that I really just don't use very often. I think because I'm not very good at combining them. Like, some people really have a knack for pattern matching. I don't know if I am one of those people. So like, it worked in this room because the curtains are kind of the only strong pattern, but if I had a strong patterned rug and a bed, I don't know if I could have pulled it off. And some people can pull it off. I'm not people. But the room is quite small. I put a couple toys in there and that's like pretty much the whole kids' room space. So we're gonna put a couple finishing touches on the left side of the house, like adding things to the balcony. I put a chess table and a telescope so your Sims can die. And now we are gonna move in to the right side. Oh, wait a minute. I got rid of the telescope. Well, how are your Sims gonna die? Why did I do that? Okay, there's a games table, not a chess table, and a yoga mat instead. So I just like super lied. That's fine. Those are good too. Those are both good as well. Okay, well, we're actually doing the courtyard now of the left side of the house, and I'm putting a dining table and a grill and some flowers and stuff out here. So I lied so much. We're not going to the right side yet. I'm doing this part first. So it looks like I'm using a base game grill. That's like the really cute base game one with the flowers on it. And then I also got the Riviera Retreat table because I like how it had the kind of cute pastel scallops. I also put some backyard stuff, flowers, and I think I want to go through and put a few more plants. At first I put some bikes down. I think I end up moving those bikes out of here and I put them outside like in the grass. and I got loads of planter boxes just to have some more greenery in here. They're not even functional planter boxes. I ended up putting like actual plants, like landscaping plants, instead of the plants your Sims can grow in there. There's just a lot of pavement in this part because it's like tile and then the stone fence and the stone wall. So I feel like having some plants helps to split it up. But in the end, it looks pretty cute in here. Looking at those planter boxes is making me think about the ones that are going to be coming in Enchanted by Nature, and I'm getting excited about it. Like, Enchanted by Nature is going to have some really cute little ones because they're having those house plants added. I cannot wait to get my hands on those. But anyway, we're moving inside now, and you can see I've actually put a little bit of furniture inside. I didn't mean to like leave you out of the loop when I was placing this stuff, but I like basically half placed it because I was just putting some counters in to figure out where the counters would go so you wouldn't have to watch me do all of my like troubleshooting, and then I forgot to start recording. So we started this with like 3 kitchen counters placed already, but we kind of have a galley style kitchen right there in the middle, and then we have a dining table in the way back. This house has a little bit more of like a deeper pink and then a lot of like a more orangey toned wood accent color, kind of starting with this. It's not quite outright orange, but it's just a deeper wood tone than the other house does. Those chairs in here are actually from Growing Together, so I used those. We've got a cute heart wall decor item from Wedding Stories, which I kind of forgot even existed. I put a shelf from For Rent. We've got a nice plant. We've got some cutesy rugs. I struggled a lot with the rug because it's kind of a strange space. It's like a strange scale back there, so it was hard for me to figure out what to put in, but I used just a rug from Discover University in the end. I also have Riviera Retreat tile in here. It's kind of like a pink and orange tile. It's a bit hard to see from this angle, but I'll move it later on. And I actually really like it. I like that tile a lot. I've been using it a bit more recently. It's a fun backsplash tile, and it's usually pretty colorful in most of the swatches. The kitchen is pretty decently cluttered too, so only one of the counters is technically functional for cooking on because all the other counters have stuff on them, but it's okay because it's worth it. And then over here in the front of the house is the living room. I used the same swatch of rug that we have upstairs in the other bedroom, but it's just too good to pass up. And then this is me moving those bikes outside because I found that really cute movie hangout chair. It's like a couch. I'll show you more at the end of the video, but it fit too perfectly to pass up, so I used that in there. We're actually using island living sofas in both sides of the house. This one has a little bit more of a modern sofa. It's kind of square. The other one is a bit more whimsical, I guess, looking. I went back and forth a lot on what kind of art to put because I wanted to have a TV, but I also wanted cute art, and I didn't know like how modern should the TV be? Should it be the frame TV? Like I changed my mind a lot. I really like the frame TVs in this game, but I struggle with the colors of them sometimes. I just kind of wish we had a few more swatches of the paintings, or maybe if we had like one more frame TV, I think that would go a long way because I just need like a little bit more variety to fit in more of my houses. In this house, we used the For Rent kitchen counters because they have that like deeper purpley pink tone plus a light pink countertop, which actually worked out really well because that's kind of like the exact color scheme for the house. I've struggled a lot to use that swatch of the For Rent counters in most of my other builds. I think because I don't love the colorful countertop that much. Like if those counters had a white marble countertop, oh my gosh, I'd use them everywhere. But because it's a light pink, it's kind of hard for me to fit in most of the houses. For me, most of the time with kitchen counters, I either want to have like colorful countertop and more neutral cabinet, or colorful cabinet and neutral countertop. Most of the time I want a neutral countertop with a colorful cabinet, and we just don't have a lot of that. I think the Sims team is often like doing too much with some of the swatches they give us. Like it would be okay for us to get a counter set that's like all different color cabinets, but like only white countertops. You don't have to change the countertop to be some wacky color every single time. It would be fine for it to be neutral. The swatch system of The Sims 4 really struggles in that way, because if there were some way to combine and like pick the countertop and the cabinet separately, it would solve all of our problems. But we just can't, you can't do that in The Sims 4, so it makes it so much harder to build with. But I think that's the whole downstairs done. Thankfully, I just watched myself put a telescope back on the back patio. It's like on the balcony of this house, so thank God there is still a way for your Sims to die. I also put a grill and like some planter boxes and a big umbrella table. I used the horrible base game magenta color for the umbrella table, and now we are moving inside and back to go and do the upstairs, starting with the primary bedroom. I had a pretty hard time with this primary bedroom. It's kind of a weird shape, And I really wanted to have the bed be centered at least a little bit with the windows somehow, but the windows are also kind of in a weird place. And then I wanted to have the rug be centered with the bed, but then the rug is like almost touching the wall, and I hate when the rug almost touches the wall. So it was like a recipe for disaster for the things that stress me out. I think I overthink this stuff too much, but I hate when the rug feels like it's too big for the room, and when it's like touching the corners of the room. That's like a pet peeve of mine in my own builds. So I try to avoid it when I can, and this time it was happening, so I had to kind of just deal with it. But I used the rug from the refined living room kit in there because it's kind of like that deep pink color. And then in here, this is going to be a toddler's bedroom, and I used a lot of life and death in here. I have like a life and death bed because it has that same color. I got a dollhouse and like some toy boxes and things like that. It is a little bit dark in this room. I didn't know if I loved it too much, but I think it looked cute, so I tried to keep it. It's not really my personal vibe, all these dark colors, especially for a baby's space, but it's also fun to use things that I don't use very often. And this is pretty much the end of the build. That's the end of the recording, at least, because when I finished that room, I thought I had finished the house, and then I was like, oh my god, I didn't do the downstairs bedroom, and I had already stopped recording, and I didn't start recording again for some reason. So I'll show you that now in a tour. We'll do like a full tour of the finished product. As a reminder, we're on this 20 by 20 lot in Tomarang, and to place it off the gallery is kind of a pain. So I'm gonna show you how. You're gonna look for the pretty in pink duplex on the gallery, but you'll see it's gonna be like, you can't place it on this lot. Weirdly, with residential rentals, you have to change the lot type to residential rental first, and then you can place it. You don't have to do that with any other lot type in the game. You can place a gym just fine, a regular house just fine, a bar just fine. A residential rental, you have to change first. It's the only one. But once you swap it, then you can place it. It is 124,000 simoleons, and it uses a ridiculous number of packs. And I'm so sorry. Listen though, once we get Enchanted by Nature, I'm gonna make like Enchanted by Nature and base game only exclusively videos for like a week and a half probably. Balance, right? You know, sometimes 1 pack, sometimes 30 packs. It's fine. But I'll place it down so I can show you. This is what it looks like when you first load in and you're like viewing the front of the lot. Hopefully you can kind of see the pink vibes. Like it works, right? Even with the purpley color. I'm gonna start with the left house and give you the full tour there, and then go to the right one. So when you first walk up, they have like some bikes out front. They have a flamingo. They also have a little courtyard space with loads of plants. This is the chair that I was talking about from Movie Hangout. I never use this. I kind of forget it even exists because most of the colors are a little bit wacky. You see what I mean with patterns though? Like I'm just not good at this. Only one swatch is plain. And I don't know if I've ever used this pink one, but it was so perfect. So I put it right there. And then when you come inside, there's like a little entryway table by the front door with like a cute mirror. We have our dining room right here. You kind of go back into a honestly really big kitchen, especially given the size of the house. And they have a decent sized living room over on this side. I have things like a tea set and some extra chairs. There's a little bathroom downstairs in this one, and they also have the art studio downstairs over here. This is also a really big art studio given the size of the house. They have a ton of space for crafts in here. Up this little staircase, there's a teeny tiny little hallway right here, and to the left we have the primary bedroom. They've got a nice double bed. They have their desk and computer. They also have a second bathroom up here. And then there's also a little kid's bedroom over on this side with those new curtains that I never ever think about. I even use this thing. This is like a Void Critter battle station. I also never use that. That's from the kids room stuff pack. I was really trying to use different items and swatches that I don't normally go for in here, at least in some spaces. But that's pretty much the whole house on this side. They do have a tiny balcony off the primary bedroom. But now I want to go over to the right side, to the darker color house. So their front door is right here. And when you first walk in this house, they've got like a piano and a bookshelf. This is like an AC unit, just because it looks kind of cute from the outside. And you walk like straight into their living room. You can go a bit further forward into their kitchen that kind of looks like this. It's got those nice purple and pink counters. And then they have a dining room in the way back and like some pet bowls and plants and stuff. This is the kids' bedroom that I did not show you because I didn't record it. I used a lot of pattern in here. This is the decor to the Max wallpaper, and they have like a pink and orange bed from Horse Ranch. So I also use the lesbian pride flag in here. They've got a pretty nice desk. Look at the view from out there. I don't know if it's advisable to put your computer in front of a window that doesn't close and has no glass, but you know, it'll be fine. If you go upstairs, they've got a pretty decent hallway too. This is kind of like an office. In the hallway, there's like a little nook in the back. There's a big hall bathroom up here. Did I miss a bathroom? Oh yeah, there's like a tiny bathroom downstairs. Very small in that area. And then they have a bigger hall bathroom upstairs. They have this primary bedroom. I loved how I put the dog bed in the corner because it kind of fit like perfectly right there. But this is that primary bedroom space. And then they have also a toddler bedroom. I kind of swapped out a couple of the colors to make it a bit lighter in the end. end, and I think it looks better like this. They also have a balcony upstairs. They have a chess table and the telescope so your Sims can die. And then if you go out their back door, they also have a rocking chair. They've got a little patio with a grill and a table. This is that flooring I was telling you about from For Rent. Do you see how it has like the grass around it by default? That's kind of what I meant by it looks a little bit weird sometimes, because it just like, it's stuck with the grass. I almost wish that it was just transparent around the outside, because then you could put it anywhere, but oh well. I also gave them some monkey bars back here, and then they have like a little trash can right there. So that covers the entire place. Not a ton of room, but it's pretty cute, and I had a lot of fun building it, so hopefully you've enjoyed watching this video. I have been talking a whole bunch about Enchanted by Nature for a person who doesn't actually know when she can post about it yet, but I think when you're seeing this, it should be really soon. Like maybe even in the next couple of days, just going based off of past pack releases and stuff. So make sure you're subscribed to me here and also following me on Twitch so you don't miss it. And with that, I'm gonna wrap this video up right here. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Let me know if we should do more townhouses that are like color themed like this, because this was so fun for me to do. It might be kind of cute to do a townhouse for every different world, you know, and kind of fit the different styles of different packs.